Everyone, welcome to our Wednesday weekly IG Live, where we talk about voice and music and marketing and all of the things that independent artists need to survive and thrive. Today, I'm talking about the top 10 vocal tips that improve your singing voice, increase tone, power, and longevity. And a quick announcement before I begin. So, for full details on this ongoing conversation about technique and my ultimate 25 steps for building a world-class voice, today is my last free masterclass of 2024. And we had so much fun doing it a couple weeks ago. We decided to do it again because so many people missed out. So it's today at 3 p.m. Eastern, How to Build a World-Class Voice, the 25 Ultimate Steps to Vocal Mastery and Precision and Excellence. And it really is an incredible presentation. Don't miss it. Make sure you get the replay because this is the last one of the year. And in these 60 minutes, and then I have a short presentation after to invite you to this very special, immersive, intensive experience. And I'm going to go through the 25-step outline. And those that are on the call, live attendees will get the full masterclass outline PDF of those 25 steps to building a world-class voice. If you don't have time to join today and you're interested in enrolling in this intensive, immersive online vocal incubator to really spend a year together at a very affordable price to really elevate your vocals, learn the co-vocal method. We go deep into level 2 of the co-vocal method, which is a master holistic method used by Grammy winners and legends. It is based in vocal science and 100 years of application. It's based in bel canto. It really is for the serious singer who wants to elevate their voice and really stop messing around and just applying tips here and there from YouTube, and wants a serious technique and method that is going to stand up for them in their career. So if that's you, get your butt in this class. It's a phenomenal curriculum. You'll see the whole curriculum on the page. Just go to Vocal Mastery or type info at any of our Instagram posts. You'll see it everywhere. If you go to carriecole.com, you'll see it's called the Vocal Mastery Program. It is because of the biomechanical nature. It works for all genres, including classical, hard rock, country, jazz, folk, rock, hip hop, R&B, all genres, because it is based in biomechanics. So if you've been searching for how to sing better and sound better and really have a serious, solid method behind you to becoming the best singer you possibly can, this is your golden ticket. Sign up for the Vocal Mastery Program. You won't be sorry. This is a phenomenal experience. So the topic today, so we're talking about these top 10 vocal tips that improve your singing voice, increase tone, power, and longevity. Okay. And just as a reminder, you can see all of the live streams on YouTube. You have to go to the live section. For some reason, it doesn't show in latest videos, but go to the live section on my YouTube and you'll see all of the past lives. So the top vocal techniques to really improve tone, increase power, and all the while, of course, promoting longevity are really encoded inside the vocal technique that you use to sing from. Singers without vocal training will inevitably end up with problems. The range starts diminishing because when the voice is not used correctly, it will start breaking down. In particular, if you're on tour, right, or using your voice a lot, that's when you really feel it. And it doesn't have to be that way. And truthfully, it should never be that way. I'm many decades old, and I've never had vocal nodules or problems, and that is really an attribute to my technique, and I have no vocal loss. I've spent over 38 years refining this very precious, special vocal technique that's only found here. It's not taught anywhere else, into a complete master method, and now I'm bringing it to you. So the top 10 techniques, okay? But just keep in mind, it's taught inside my Vocal Mastery Program. We start October 16th. Enrollment is once a year, which is right now. This is it. No, in my master classes and in my classes, anytime you sing live is elective, right? So your cameras are, your microphones are always closed. Yeah, so don't worry about it. A lot of people don't like to sing in front of groups in this kind of setting. So we're sensitive to that. Don't worry about that. So here are the top 10 tips. Tip number one, laying the right foundation. Tip two, the secret to real breath support that uh, the majority of vocal coaches do not know at all. This did not come from my vocal training. It came from the body work of working with a student of Ida Rolf. Tip three is building the right support and what that really means. It doesn't mean tucking in your stomach, by the way. Tip four, coordinate the balance of air and muscle and how important that is and how to do it. Tip five, the point of resistance we need to establish, or the point of apagio, where to put that to. Tip number six, to get out of your throat, how to get out of your throat. Tip seven is separate the action of the tongue, jaw, and larynx. Very critical to having that world-class level tone and longevity. Tip eight is build the legato line. Tip nine, develop vocal fold closure for better vocal production, tone, and control. And tip 10 is build the bridge or passaggio and connecting the registers. So today I'm only going to be able to get through a few. I'm going to kind of skip around as usual. This presentation is the blog of the week. So you can go over to carriecole.com/blog and you'll see everything laid out, all the details, all the exercises laid out for you, or you can just watch the live stream back. Oh my God, DeAndre. Oh, it's so good to see your face here. You're human here. I do remember. Yes. Oh my God. How are you doing? And Carrie's here. I see Joelle here, Patty here. Yeah, Tiffany, Robbie. Good to see you guys. Oh my God, DeAndre. Blast from the past. It's been a few minutes, yeah. Okay, so let's go into it. So, number one, laying the right foundation. So many vocal techniques function by only adjusting the surface sound of the voice. And this leaves the singer constantly adjusting the sound, but never looking for where to place the sound, but never really addressing the core function of the singing voice, where the real foundation lies. When you manipulate sound on the surface of the voice, I call it window dressing. It might sound good temporarily, but underneath, like it looks good in the window, but the mannequin is about ready to fall over. Okay. So it never really, and that you'll hear a lot of people say, put the sound forward, put it into the nasal cavity, or you going, yang, 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 or these kinds of techniques that don't really address the core function of the voice and fix the actual musculature and the coordination of air and muscle within the vocal instrument. It is an instrument, and it's very important to know how to actually lay the right foundation. Fix the foundation first, and then you sound amazing, and then you have a powerful and healthy voice. My co-vocal method gets to the root of the voice, addressing the biomechanics, improving the root strength. We actually strip away the compensatory muscles that interfere or compensate for the lack of strength at the actual instrument and the lack of using the instrument right. I was just working with a singer the other day who had done my Vocal Freedom Circle, and give me a thumbs up or a heart if you did Vocal Freedom Circle, and had gotten going on the technique, but really hadn't implemented a lot of the pieces, which is why I'm doing this vocal mastery program, this year-long program. And don't be afraid of it. As my team is saying today, sacrifice a Starbucks and get in the program. It's not you have to decide what is important to you. And if what's important to you is to have a voice that has a world-class level, I mean, just imagine how your life would change, how everything would change as a result of that. So if you're not committing to something like this and you're serious about your singing, you really need to examine your choices, because this will actually make the difference, right? This works as a foundational technique. It works alongside other technique programs to accelerate results. So the most important thing, so how can you know if you're laying the right foundation? And how can you know, I'll give you a little tip about how whether you're using the accessory muscles, the compensatory muscles, one of the first things that we really work on is identifying which muscles are over functioning and which muscles are under functioning in the voice. Because when we're using the compensatory muscles, again, the muscles that compensate for the lack of strength in the core of the voice itself, right? And it's a smaller, finer muscles that we're using. It's not big, bulky muscles. So when you're singing correctly, it doesn't really feel like anything, but you have power, right? Because you've learned how to strip away the compensatory muscles that are causing constriction and tightness and problems. And then you're getting down to the core muscles that are actually really laying the foundation, getting to get those muscles to respond more because the other ones aren't dominating. So the first thing is to really identify which muscles are you using, so you can stand in front of a mirror and sing a scale or a phrase of a song, and sing it like you're performing it. So maybe like a phrase of a song, and notice any movements in the head, neck, or facial muscles. Are you lifting your chin up as you raise in pitch? Do you see your facial muscles squeezing or tightening, or your eyebrows lifting? Do you see your neck muscles tensing or bulging as you sing? All of these are accessory. Are you grabbing your jaw? Do you feel like you're grabbing your jaw when you sing? All of these are accessory compensatory muscles that compensate for the lack of strength, and they interfere with the sound, constricting and dampening the voice, and eventually over time leading to vocal problems. Now practice singing without any of those movements at all, right? So of course the jaw is going to move, of course, blah, 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 but not lifting the eyebrows or tightening the back of the neck or lifting the chin up. All these things are interfering with your best vocal production. Tip number 2, the real secret to real breath support starts with expanding the rib cage. And most people don't really understand this unless they've trained in my method. The goal to better breath support is to breathe into the lower triangles of the lungs. So the lungs are shaped like triangles, right? Most people are breathing up into this top little portion or maybe halfway through. And you'll know because when you inhale, you're lifting your chest to breathe. When you lift your chest to breathe, that's an indication that the intercostal muscles that surround the rib cage are not moving or expanding out. So if you think of your rib cage like this, the diaphragm is inside the rib cage like a big hand. It's a muscle that lays inside the rib cage, okay? And when you breathe only up into the chest, the diaphragm is not really going down. The key is we have to open the rib cage to make room for that diaphragm to go down. So you'll see in the work of Carl Stowe you'll see he was the breath doctor, breathing doctor, passed away several decades ago, or I think it was in the 2010s or maybe the late 2000s. When he passed, but I incorporate a lot of his work into the method because it's absolutely brilliant. And it has so much to do with breathing. So when you're lifting up into the shoulders, it's indicating that there's no movement there in the rib. There's no swing of the rib cage, right? And that swing of the rib cage is really extremely important for the diaphragm to be able to go down. When the diaphragm goes down, it pulls air into the lungs, right? Into the deeper cavity, the deeper triangle of the lungs. So there's an exercise, you'll see it on the blog, to practice that motion. And it's also inside my Singer's Gift warm-ups, inside my Vocal Freedom Circle. And we're going to go deep into breathing and the work of Carl Stowe and many other modalities that I bring into my breathwork series that I've never released before, that is now going to be released for the first time in my Vocal Mastery program that's starting October 16th. So don't miss out. This is a phenomenal program. If you're serious about your voice, get your butt in this class. You will not believe the difference. Tip number 3, building the right support. So the support for the singing voice is provided by a series of muscles in the trunk of the body. So the trunk of the body means from the collarbones to the pubic bone, right? And yes, we use the glutes, but I don't overuse the glutes because it can cause a tightness, just like tightening the stomach causes a tightness. So when singing teachers tell you to tuck your stomach in, that's not the best way to support the voice at all. Matter of fact, just tighten your stomach, draw it in really tight. Do you feel the tension in your throat? Right? That's why that technique doesn't work. Actually, in a solid uh, method like mine, we focus on, and in really good opera, there's a lot of not good opera um, teachers as well. Just because they're teaching opera doesn't mean they have the right method. But it really is an outward motion. But let's talk about the support. So the first, does anybody know? And if you've been on my live streams, you might know the answer to this. Does anybody know what are the first muscles that anchor the laryngeal muscles in the trunk of the body from the collarbones down? What are the muscles that anchor the laryngeal muscles? And then why is that important, right? Does anybody know? So we start with the pectoral muscles. The pectoral muscles are the first muscles in the chain of the body and the trunk of the chain of the support that actually support the laryngeal muscles. Yes, Garrison, because the connection here is really important. That's why you'll always see with a opera singer, you will never see them singing like this, right? They're always like this with very pronounced pectorals forward. And in my body works, my workout series, I'm doing a singer's workout series. We have very specific exercises that strengthen pectorals, not just push-ups, push-ups done specifically that support the length of the pectoral as well as the strength of the pectoral, because we need long pectorals. If we have short pectorals, we have a pronated shoulder, and then we're singing from our throats because we're not accessing the power of that pectoral. And you can just, even if you just put your fingers on your pectorals, you can cross your chest or put them right on and lift your chest up. And now squeeze your arms to your sides. Do you feel the flex of the pectoral, right? If you flex the pectoral and then try to relax the back of the neck. So it's a very isolated motion that the singer needs to establish inside the body. When you're actually singing, you might not feel the flex quite as much, but it needs to be activated and it needs to be natural. It can't be something that you're thinking about at the time of singing. It's something that needs to be practiced within the technique. And that's why vocal technique is extremely important. It is what gives your voice wings. Without it, you will constantly be falling back into your throat and tearing up your voice, and also just not reaching your full potential. Because in a method like this, we're actually moving you towards a point in time where all of that tone is developing because we're doing everything biomechanically the right way. Really opening up the body to get the right support, stripping away the compensatory muscles, strengthening the core muscles, all of these things that are not really intuitive. You have to learn it, right? And then what happens over time is that the body learns to maintain those movements. And pretty soon you're singing more correctly, accessing fuller range, fuller tone, fuller power, all of that. The next chain in the muscles would be the pectoral muscles are extremely important. But I would also say, besides the expanded chest wall, would be the intercostal muscles. And this is where people don't talk about very much. But the intercostal muscles and tension in the intercostal muscles will inhibit the breath support and not allow you to really get that deep breath, as I was talking about in tip number 1. So there's much more to it, but starting with the pectoral muscles to be able to initiate them and use them during singing without tightening the throat or the neck is that isolated motion that you want to get established inside your voice. Tip number 4 is to coordinate the balance of air and muscle. So I talk about this a lot. It's like a teeter-totter, like air and muscle and air and muscle. And it's common to muscle the voice. This is when we're using the compensatory muscles. If you haven't trained or you haven't had the right training, you're going to be using those compensatory muscles of the neck and the tongue and the jaw. Some people's tongues are extremely tight and it causes all kinds of problems. And it destabilizes the voice when the tongue is tight, in particular, because the base of the tongue is right here on top of the vocal mechanism. So in our method, we separate the action of the tongue and jaw, the tongue and the jaw and the laryngeal muscles. So if I demonstrate that, this is your jaw, this is your larynx, okay? Larynx right here, jaw right here, right? And this is your tongue. This is the base of your tongue. So the base of your tongue and your laryngeal, and until you've done any kind of vocal stretches that are involved in my method, you haven't separated the action of the larynx and the tongue. And this is why I can take, a well-known, that's why, famous singers would come to me that, might have had some training or sometimes not even, but were running into trouble or wanted to go to the next level, and I could take that singer and completely transform their voice because people haven't, this method is not out there. Okay, my mentors never brought it out to the marketplace, and I'm the first one to bring it out. So, and I taught this up at Columbia University in front of all the opera teachers when I was on the board of directors for the Singing Teachers Association, New York Singing Teachers Association, and I taught this method. And this woman comes running up to me, oh my God, that's the answer. And I said, what? And she said, well, Beverly Johnson, who taught at the Met, always pulled the tongue. Remember, this is the tongue. So if we're pulling the tongue, we're pulling the larynx up with it until we have that separation. But if we are holding the jaw down, which we have a deeper position for the larynx, and then we're keeping the tip of the tongue out here, and we say an E or an A, we start to separate the action of the laryngeals and the base of the tongue, which is absolutely critical to build real tone, a real voice, real control of the voice. Until that work is done, you haven't really experienced what is possible for your voice. So to practice that, and I again teach this inside the method, but you would hold the jaw down, keep the tongue on the tip. And this is only done in vocal technique. This is not done while you're singing. And then you're like, well, why would I be doing that if I'm not doing that with your singing? Because we want to practice the motions that open the throat while we're vocalizing, separate the action of the laryngeals and the tongue. And you can start this in the Singer's Gift warm-ups. We start it right from the beginning. And then you learn it inside the Vocal Freedom Circle, and then we master it inside the Vocal Mastery Program. So again, if you're looking for a serious program, it's all taught online. You really want to master your voice, come into the Vocal Mastery Program. Do not hesitate. This is the only time this year to join. You won't even hear it. I don't even have another date on the calendar. I don't know when I'm going to do this again. It's an extraordinary program online, live with me. And that you can see the curriculum on the Vocal Mastery page. It's an extraordinary curriculum. It's going to be we already have an incredible group of singers. There's also an adjunct to teach the method. So you would add on the vocal coach certification part of the program. So go and check it out. It is an extraordinary program. And if you're really looking to elevate your vocals and emerge a year from now with an extraordinary voice, don't even hesitate. This is the real deal. I can guarantee that you will emerge with an elevated voice. I went through this process myself with this. I couldn't believe the difference in my voice. And with thousands and thousands of singers. This is a real method. It's structured with, warm-ups and cool-downs and voice building and very, very specific methodology that you use as you're moving through different phases of your voice. And it takes you all the way from a beginner to a world-class level quality of the voice. It really is extraordinary. So coordinating the balance of air and muscle is extremely important. We were going to talk about separating the action of the tongue and the jaw. So you would hold your jaw down. So when you hold your jaw down, watch what happens here. We see that drop, right? Now, if you don't drop, that means you're really tight in these muscles and you need to do some massage work like I have in my warm-ups, okay? So holding the jaw down, and the tongue stays touching the inside of the lower lip. And say, ka, ka. And notice how my back of the tongue has to go up to pronounce the K. If you haven't done this technique at all, you're going to want to use your jaw and say, ka, ka. No movement in the jaw. Jaw stays down. Ka, ka. And see how far down my tongue drops, right? That's from training. Some of you may have that. Just some of you, the tongue will go down halfway. Some of you, the tongue will stay high. If the tongue stays high, that's an indication of nasality and overuse of the tongue as a compensatory muscle. You're using the tongue, you're overusing the tongue, and that creates nasality. And it also creates destabilizing of the voice, which means you're going to crack or break a lot. And also burn out a lot because that tongue is so tight and it's pulling the larynx up with it. So that's the beginning of starting to separate the action of the tongue and the jaw. The other tips that are on the, we talk about the point of resistance, apagio, getting the voice out of the throat, techniques for that, building the legato line, developing vocal fold closure, building the bridge or passaggio, and the rest of that is on the blog. Today at 3 p.m. Eastern is my last vocal masterclass of the year, where I go over the 25 ultimate steps to building a world-class voice. Do not miss it. Do not miss it. Get it in your browser. Make sure that you sign up for this, even if you can't be there, to get the replay. People that are there live attendees will get the PDF of the 25 steps. It's a webinar style, so you guys aren't on camera. And come and join the Vocal Freedoms Vocal Mastery Program. Don't even question it if you're serious about your voice and you're craving a solid method. Okay. Any questions before I leave, before I head out today? Any questions? There's nothing like having a voice that you have control over. It's an extraordinary feeling. And to really understand that you can develop far beyond where you are. You're welcome. Oh, hi, Jeanette. Good to see you. You're welcome, guys. Anybody else? Any questions? Any questions or comments? Sometimes it's a funny thing about commitment, because it's not easy to be a singer and a musician, and you have to put a lot of time in before you get the payoff, right? But that makes it all sweeter. And the thing about commitment is people think that the opportunity comes and then you commit, but it's actually the other way around. Commitment happens first. Commitment comes first. Commitment is the natural magnet of opportunity. Would you place the tongue over the teeth for that example? No, it's not over the teeth. Oh, wait, yes, sorry. It is over the teeth. Ka. The tip of the tongue is imaginary Velcro to the inside of the lower lip. Do you have one-on-one coaching sessions? I absolutely do. They are expensive. That's why I did the vocal mastery programs for less than a private 45-minute session with me a month. You get the entire program, 3 classes live with me. I wouldn't even hesitate. I would do that first. But yes, if you want private, I do. I screamed at a soccer game. Yeah. Don't scream at soccer games. I know you know that now. Yeah, do a lot of vocal massage and steam. And I would do my gihis and my vocal rescue kit, because they'll thin out the edges of the vocal folds, as opposed to at the base of the teeth or the gum line. Yeah, exactly as I said. Ka. Right? But you really need to learn the method inside the Singer's Gift and the Vocal Freedom Circle. Otherwise, there's a lot of other components that are important. Question, can I come a few minutes late? Of course. Yeah, you can come late to the class. Get what you can. Do you teach these courses on Udemy? I do not. I only teach them within my platform. Yes. Well, it's so good to connect with all of you guys. Come and join me at 3 p.m. Eastern today. Do not miss it. If you're thinking about a serious, really, really stepping into the full potential of your voice, do not hesitate to come and join us in the Vocal Mastery Program. You won't believe the difference. Thank you for joining me. I'll be going live tomorrow and Friday. So you'll see me pop on. And I look forward to connecting with you again next week. See you guys soon. Have an amazingly creative day. Bye.